It's a really gorgeous song. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I've been playing around with capos and keys and chords and stuff, and I've landed on this. Capo on the 3rd fret. The original, the Louis Armstrong original, that is in the key of F, which is kind of okay for my voice, but with a capo on the 3rd fret, I can play it as if I was in D, which is what I'm going to do. There are some more unusual shapes, and if you haven't played any jazz guitar before, some of these will be a bit unfamiliar, and we're just going to grind through them. But you know, you might be glad you did, because a lot of the shapes that we see here you're going to recycle and reuse in lots and lots of jazz ballads and up-tempo tunes too. It's a really useful kind of little vocabulary of jazz chord shapes that we're going to pick up here. The form is AABA, that is to say a verse, 8 bars, another verse, another 8 bars, then we've got a bridge section, and then we come back to the verse, and the final verse is extended for the ending. All right, let's look at these shapes. We'll start off with this one, D major 7. Now, this is a really useful shape. It's a major 7 shape with its root on the 5th string. In a moment, we're going to see another major 7 shape with its root on the 6th string, and between them, they might be the only major 7 shapes you need to play. You could do this, barring across the top 3 strings at the 2nd fret, playing the 4th string open. But, you know, this is a bit more versatile because, of course, you can play it anywhere you like. No open strings here. And you'll notice that many of the shapes only use 4 strings. That's because we have the thumb and then 3 picking fingers. And that's very common on jazz guitar too. All right, D major 7. 2 beats of that. And then we've got something called F sharp minor 7. I'm playing it this way. I've got my 2nd finger down on the 2nd fret of the bottom string, and then my 3rd finger is barring across the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings at the 2nd fret. Again, this is a really common shape. That's F sharp minor 7. Now here comes the other major 7 shape I promised you. It's this one. This one's got its root on the 6th string. That's G, 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the bottom string. Then I've got this 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and the 3rd and 4th fingers are below it on the 4th fret of the 3rd and 4th strings. Again, no open strings here. And then back to F sharp minor 7. So we've got as far as the first 2 bars. I see trees of green, red roses too. I have to say, this isn't a beginnery song. You'll have picked that up now. I have put more beginnery versions of this song in ukulele books and guitar books over the years, but I want to do it some kind of a justice. So, trees of green, red roses too. Now, E minor 7, I'm actually going to play that with some open strings there, give it a slightly more acoustic feel. I see them, back to D major 7, bloom, and a grandly named F sharp 7 flat 13 for me, and that's 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the bottom string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th, and then these 2 are up on the 3rd fret of the 2nd and 3rd strings. That goes to B minor, for me and you, B minor 7 I should say. That's an A minor 7 bar chord. You know, we're halfway through the A section now, so we are getting there. Then it breaks out into a bar of B flat major 7. That's just the same as this D major 7 shape, but on the 1st fret. Think to myself. Now, E minor 7. What a A7. Wonderful world. We go back to our D major 7. There's quite a lot of that here. And I just want to get a D augmented. I'm going to play it like this, barring across the 3rd fret of the 2nd and 3rd strings with my 1st finger. You could do this. If you play a D shape, whatever finger you've got on the 3rd string, you could move that up from the 2nd fret to the 3rd fret. That would do, but I prefer this. Then it's G major 7 and A7. That wasn't so bad. It's just explaining it's a bit long-winded. All right, let's have that. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. And the following verse is very similar. The arrangement I've done, the backing track I've made, I've got triplets going on in the drums. So it's taka-ta-taka-ta-taka-ta-taka-ta. Now you're free to just kind of do this kind of thing as I was just now, or maybe strum. But if we were to pick this, then maybe we'll do thumb 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So just on a D major 7. Mostly I'm keeping my picking fingers on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings. So thumb, 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger, arranged in groups of 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. And of course the bass is going to be on whatever string is needed for that chord, but we'll get this. I see trees of green, red roses too, I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. That kind of thing. And when we have a playthrough, that's the sort of thing I'll be doing. All right, let's look at the second verse. Now, verse 2 is exactly the same except for the very ending. I'll go from the B flat major 7. And I think to myself, E minor 7, what an A7. To D major 7, then G major 7, half a bar each, and we land on D major 7. Then I think to myself, what a wonderful world. That's really good practice, by the way, for the left hand, changing from that major 7 shape to that one and back. Especially if you play lots of jazz tunes, you'll find you're often playing one shape with its root on the 5th string, going to a shape with its root on the 6th string and back. That sort of thing happens all the time. Anyway, that's the end of the second verse. That sets us up for the chorus. Now the chorus is another 8-bar section, and to begin with it's really straightforward, a bar each of A7 and D major 7, and that just repeats. The colours of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends. Now it's half a bar each of B minor 7 and A7. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? And now we get this. To close out the last 2 bars of the chorus, half a bar of B minor 7. They're really, and then it's D sharp diminished, saying, I'm moving to the top 4 strings here just because it's easier. And you could bar that. I find it easier to use 4 different fingers. I'm not going to call out what I'm doing here. I'll leave you to work that out. It's not so tricky. 1st finger on the 4th string, I'll give you that much. And we have, they're really saying. Now the E minor 7 for 1 beat, D sharp diminished again for 1 beat, back to E minor 7 to A7, and that's the end of the chorus. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? Here we go. They're really saying, I love you. I hear, and we're into the final verse. So maybe at the end there, you're not going to pick. You could find somewhere else to play that D sharp diminished chord, maybe because you are going up to the top 4 strings, it's a bit bright. You could play it like this, maybe. Here actually is where it needs to be. Let's try this. I'm just going to show you this, and you can play that instead if you want to. The root is C, but it really doesn't matter. Take my word for it. I got my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then the 3rd and 4th fingers either side of the 1st finger, but up on the 4th fret. They're really saying, I love you. Okay. If you don't know, diminished chords kind of repeat every 3 frets. So a D sharp diminished and a C diminished, well, they contain the same notes. That's all I'm going to say. All right, the whole of the chorus, I hope I'm not making this too complicated, and I'm going to put in the C diminished shape. Maybe one time I'll put in the D sharp just so we can hear it. It's all the same thing. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, yeah, that's nicer, I love you. I hear, final verse, babies cry, watch them grow, they'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful... Now, up to now it's exactly the same as the first and second verses. Now it changes. World... I'm going to play this. I've got my D major 7 for 2 beats. Now I'm going to play F sharp half diminished, F sharp minor 7 flat 5. And this looks like an A minor with an F sharp underneath it. That's exactly what it is, but I'm going to finger it this way with the second finger down on the bottom string, first finger on the first fret of the second string, the other two. It's pretty obvious. D major 7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, and I'm going to go to a straight B7 chord there. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And we close out with familiar material, E minor 7. Yeah, I think to myself for a whole bar. Then I'm going to play A7 sus 4. For a beat or 2 beats, and then I'm going to play, do you remember that D sharp diminished thing that we had? Put that up a fret and play that with the open 5th string. That's going to give us an A7 flat 9. Yeah, I think to myself, what a wonderful... That's nice. And then we're going to finish just like we finished the second verse. D major 7 to G major 7, D major 7 to finish. That's all I got. Let's have a playthrough. 1, 2, 3. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more